Oh wait, what was that? We don't need a third Hanzo or a second Widowmaker? Oh, okay, I thought I was just following the team tips. Sorry about that, guy. How's it going, everybody? Force here, and today I want to talk about the team tips. You guys know them. When your team's coming together, it tells you, oh, you've got no sniper or no builder, there's no tank or no support. And these are meant to be very helpful and useful in guiding new players towards building a decent team composition. However, I think that they could use a bit of work. It might be a little broken in its current state. All right, guys, so let's go into this. I want to talk about this in some depth here. There were some couple of Reddit articles posted up today that I thought were really interesting, really engaging, and I wanted to sort of join in this discussion, and I wanted to include you guys as well. First of all, kudos to Blizzard for even having something like this. I think it's great. The idea behind it and pushing people towards selecting heroes that are going to fill certain roles and help the team in its overall composition, I mean, a huge thumbs up. That's a great thing to have, rather than it just being all willy-nilly and people picking whatever the heck they want. At least this offers some sort of guidance and tells you if there's something that you're missing. And in many ways, it's very in-depth. It'll tell you if you have too many of a certain hero or too few of some. But I think there's some more nuance that could be put into this and make it a little bit better. For me, the biggest offenders are the no builder, no sniper, and no support categories. And I want to touch on each of these individually. And then I want to wrap up by talking about how I think Blizzard could improve the system, or mainly what should be focused on. So, no builder. I mean, let's be honest here. A builder isn't exactly a necessary category, even on defense, where Torbjorn can shine and Symmetra can shine. But it's not a category that is ultimately necessary, and there are certainly other heroes that should be prioritized over that. Basically, what I'm saying is, if we have no healer on our team, we shouldn't be seeing the no builder category pop up, because it's probably much more important that we get a Mercy or a Lucio, or even a Zenyatta on our team, than it is that we get a Torbjorn. So I would say that a builder isn't a necessary category that should be highlighted here, especially if we're missing a tank or a healer, for example. And then to a lesser degree, I think the no sniper category, it shouldn't really be one that's focused on, certainly not over those more important roles. I think it's much more important that we have a good offense hero, a tank, and a healer than it is that we have a sniper. Now, with that said, a good sniper can carry games. A good Widowmaker, even after the nerf, if she's getting headshots, it's a hero that's capable of winning matches. There's no question about that. The problem is that you're not always going to have a good Widowmaker. You're not always going to have a good sniper. I know they include Hanzo in the sniper list, but he's more of like a mid-range brawler, if we're going to be honest here. Not as much of a long-range kind of pinning people down as you get with Widowmaker. So I think the no sniper tip is one that could possibly just be removed, frankly, because in a majority of games, for most of the matches that you're playing, in the average player, and that's gonna be most of you guys, and that's not to put anybody down, but by definition, average means the majority of you. It is the average. So most games and most people in most matches, their sniper's probably not gonna be to the level that makes them super useful, and it'd probably be much better if we had another soldier or something, or maybe even another McCree. And then the last one that I want to talk about is the support section, and mainly how Symmetra fills the no support quota, and this will lead to games without healers. I don't think no support should be a category. I think it should just say no healer, because if you get a Symmetra, that doesn't really do the same thing as getting a Lucio, a Mercy, or a Zenyatta. In some ways, you could look at Symmetra's teleporter as a res, because it kind of fills that role, but she lacks the obvious inclusion of being able to heal up her teammates, because the shield is so minute. It's almost, it can make a difference, you know, it'll protect people that little extra bit, but compared to actual healing from a healing character, no support, it shouldn't be a category. It should be renamed to no healer. You can have Symmetra. She should probably be considered a defense hero, honestly. If you want my true opinion, why is she in the support category? I get that she has a shield. I get that her teleporter kind of works as a res, but she's not a character you're gonna see picked a lot on attack. Why? Because she is a defensive focused character. In fact, point A defense is really where she shines. That is where she excels. Maybe she shouldn't be considered support with that in mind. Ultimately, I give a lot of credit to Blizzard for having this team tip system to begin with. I think it's a fantastic idea. I just think it needs a little bit of a change. For me, if I were to suggest anything, I would say that we just need to focus on the most important roles that every team can use, whether you're attack, whether you're defense, and no matter the game mode that you're playing. We need a tank, we need a healer, and we need an offensive hero, because they are ultimately the consistent damage dealers. Everything else is just a little bit of filler and really not as necessary or as mandatory. And if we could kind of mold the system around there, get rid of the no support section, replace it with no healer, and maybe de-emphasize things like a builder and a sniper, because again, professional teams aren't using this. They know what they need to do. We need to realize that these team tips are only really useful for the average player base, for a majority of you playing there and going through your matches, and you getting grouped up with random people. That is where this is going to be useful. This is mainly, honestly, for the solo queuers who aren't grouping together. And so with that in mind, given that that's who this is tailored to, maybe the system should be designed in a way that will make sure that these groups of random people who aren't terribly coordinated are at least getting a team composition that's going to be useful for them a majority of the time, giving them a better chance to do well, rather than just making sure every single possible role is filled, even if it's not really necessary. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me here today. Just wanted to talk a little bit with you about the team tips in Overwatch, about how it could use a rework and maybe be improved a little bit. Ultimately, that's all I'm trying to do here, trying to make things better. I love this game. I have a lot of fun playing it, and I'd like to make it a better experience for a majority of you out there, and I think that making some changes to the system could do that very thing. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, please be sure to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Hope you have a fantastic afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.